Hey, welcome back everyone to Playing on the J-File. Have you ever had a game where you had 4 promotions, 4 queen promotions? That's a total of 6 queens if you include the 2 queens you started with. And there were 3 queens on the board at the same time. It's one of those crazy games. It's a game I played in February 1998 against Yefim Treger. He was rated 2341 at the time. I was rated, I don't know, about 1900 or so, something like that. Okay, so let's look at the game. E4, I was white. C5, looking like a Sicilian. Knight F3, Knight C6, D3, looking like a closed Sicilian. We're not going to play that open stuff here. G3, Bishop G4, Traeger comes out, pins my knight. Bishop G2. He plays knight e5, hitting the knight on f3. It's pinned. I castle. And immediately he starts with h5, starting his attack. I had only just castled. I wasn't even adjusted to my new home. And he just went right ahead and started trying to storm the barricades, as they say. Okay, he plays e6. I play knight d2. He brings his queen to f6, ganging up on my poor knight on f3. I play queen e2. He castles queenside. This is going to be one of those exciting games where we have opposite side castling. And in those games, both sides just throw everything in the kitchen sink at the opponent's king and see what sticks. Okay, I play queen e3. He takes on f3 now that I ended the pin on the knight. I take back. He plays e5. I play knight h2, hitting that bishop on g4. He plays g6. He would just love if I took on g4, and that would open up the h-file for his rook. I didn't do that. I play queen e1. He plays bishop h6. We trade on h6. I play queen d2. He plays queen e7. Now I start my pawns rolling. a4. I want to go after his king. He plays bishop d2. Bishop d7 rather. I play rook to b1. He plays bishop c6. I play b4. Okay, I've got to open up those lines on his king. I have to try and do it before he opens up lines on mine. He takes on b4. I take back. He plays f5. He's starting, as predicted, to open up lines on my king. I take. He exchanges on the long diagonal. That surprised me a little bit. I thought he was going to hang on to his bishop. Maybe he couldn't. I don't know. I take the bishop back on g2. He takes on f5. I play queen c3, check. I get in. I think that's the first check of the game, so I should get something for that. But, you know, what I do get is a pretty nice attack. Rook b1, doubling up the rooks on the b file. He covers. He plays rook d7, covering that b pawn. I keep marching up with a5, and then he plays rook c7, hitting my queen. I play queen b2. I'm all tripled up on that b file. He plays a6. He does not want my a pawn to go any further. That's far enough. I play rook b6. That's the new hole that's been created when he played a6. And I've got a threat now of rook takes on a6. I can take that pawn because the b7 pawn is pinned. He plays king h8, so there's no longer a pin on the b7 pawn. I play queen b3. He plays knight f7. I play queen d5. He moves his king up because I had a nice little threat here of rook takes a6 check. Once again, I renewed that threat because the b pawn this time is pinned diagonally from the queen. So he sees that. He plays king h7. I play knight f3, getting my knight back into the game. He brings another rook over to the defense. I play queen b3. He drops his queen back. I try to reposition my knight to get it involved in the attack. And then we've got this central pawn break. Takes on c4. I take back on c4, setting a nice little trap here, which unfortunately is not that nice. If you're rated 2340, you're going to see it. The trap is, if he plays queen takes d2, I've got a mate. Starting with rook takes a6, that will be checkmate, or a mate in 2, actually. All right, so he plays queen d4. Almost got me going when he touched that queen. I was hoping he was going to go all the way down the road to the knight on d2. He did not. I play rook f6. He plays, he doubles up on the d file with his rook. I then go into the queen exchange, queen b6 check. He moves his king. I take the queen. He takes back. Bring my knight f3. It's a good square. He takes a pawn. Right now, we're all even. Well, now we're not. I'm a pawn ahead, right? So I've got one extra. No, I don't. No, we are all even now. Right, we each have 4 pawns, a knight, and 2 rooks. But white is better. The engine says white is definitely better here. Now I'm a pawn up. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I am. Okay, so he's he's going to move up his pawn, attack my knight on f3. I've got to move that knight and not hang my rook, of course, because my rook would have been taken if I did something else with the knight. He takes. Now we are even. 3 pawns, a knight, 2 rooks each. Lots of fun stuff to come, though. I start my pawns marching. He takes. I take back. He brings his rook to a nice active second rank. I back up my king. He brings his rook to the g-file to keep an eye on my potentially advancing pawns. I play rook b6. He goes after. He's tickling my rook there. I don't like to be tickled. I move the rook. It's a nice square. I move the rook to. It's behind his pawn. It's hitting his pawn. He's going to have to take a step to cover that, and he does. I play g6. He pushes his pawn up. I ignore that and play f3. I had to ignore it. I didn't want to take that pawn because then he would have taken on g4 with check, and he would have picked up this pawn, and it would have been a mess. He checks me. I move up. He checks me again, and I move up again. I feel safe since I have the rook on the e-file. I'm not worried about that pawn, really, and he does move it up. Now I'm worried, so I bring the king over here. I just want to make sure, you know, I want to win that pawn, actually. So he queens. That is the first promotion. There's going to be several more, so keep track. King takes queen. He plays rook c7. I bring my rook back. He checks. Move out of the check. He goes back to watching that g-pawn. I cover it. He plays rook c1. I play rook h7. And then he doubles up his rooks there. I trade the rooks. I've got 3 against 2. Rook and pawn endings can be drawish, but this one is not. My pawns are too far advanced. The wild card, though, is that we were playing in the wild days of analog chess clocks. For those that don't know, in those days, when we had no digital clocks, you were lost if your flag fell. So basically, the flag would keep rising as you were running out of time, and when the flag fell, you were in big trouble because you would likely lose the game on time, except in certain narrow exceptions. We start marching our pawns to get those next queens. I play here. I don't care that he's taking my pawn because now f7 guarantees me promotion. I'm promoted. Yeah, rook takes. I've got a queen. He puts his rook on a6, so he's going to, keep his ideas to just march that pawn on and get his own queen. I give him a check. He comes out of the check. I check him again. He goes there. Now I'm marching my pawn. He marches his. You can see the theme here. I play my pawn up to g6. I'm not worried at all about rook takes pawn because I will pick up the rook to queen e8 check. So he cannot take the pawn. It is immune. He plays a2. I march my pawn up. He queens. That is, what is that? The 3rd promotion, right? And there's the 4th. 4 promotions. That's a total of 6 queens. And 3 queens on the board at the same time. You don't see that too often. Especially, this was not a blitz game. This was not a fast time control game. This was a standard time control at the Marshall Chess Club's under 2300 weekend tournament. He plays king a7, and now I should have ended the whole thing. I've got a mate in 3 here, but I missed it. Queen c5, I play the wrong check. The right check was to check on b8. Once I checked on b8, that would be a mate in 3 moves. But my flag is hanging, his flag is hanging, things are getting crazy now. He plays his rook to b6. He was forced to do that, otherwise he would be mated if he played his pawn to b6. I play queen c4. Somewhere around here I offered a draw. He turned down the draw. It was one of those positions where we couldn't really tell who was ahead in terms of the clock. On the board, I'm just winning. On the clock, different story. Queen b2 check. King f1. Now we're not keeping score at this point, but now I had sensed, okay, this is looking kind of deja vu-ish. I did offer a draw around here. He turned it down, so after he plays this move, no, I played that move, he plays this. So after this check, Technically, we have a threefold repetition here, but as we were no longer keeping score, and this was reconstructed after the game, I stopped the clock and said I was going to play. Actually, I made a no losing chances claim because I couldn't actually, I wasn't actually sure whether I had a threefold here, since again, no score. So I made a threefold, made a no losing chances claim. Somebody else in the playing hall went and got the TD, Steve Emmett. He looked at the board, assessed the situation, and agreed that this was insufficient losing chances. The game was stopped. It was a draw. So there you have it. That's a game from 1998 against a 23-40. 4 queen promotions, a total of 6 queens. 3 queens on the board at the same time. And what else? A missed mate in 3. Yeah, so it has everything. It had pretty much everything you would want in a game, except I didn't win. But I drew, so that was almost as good. Thanks for watching. See you again next time on Mating on... Mating? No, that's not it. Playing on the J-File. I don't know.